like the gentleman who's very generously supporting this would love to have $500,000 and build something that didn't have those, I'm sure. The school, the principal, I'm sure, and the families that go to it would love to have these things go away and have real life buildings and, you know, the whole 9 yards. Realistically, in our finances and in these times, that's, seems to me that's a burden that it's not in our interest to impose on it, even if we're not totally keen on the skirts or the not skirts. I think the bigger picture here is this overall campus with the suite of generous financing and the possibilities of getting more, is this a good thing? Can we live with this, given there's clearly goodwill on the part to make sure that it looks reasonable from the road? And obviously, if financing does get better, these will disappear really fast. But they don't want to be in a position where somebody basically is committing to in 5 years come up with $500,000. That's my understanding, and I would certainly be in favor of what this does overall for our community, and we live with, you know, perhaps slightly less desirable appearance.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I'm going to be a little clear. First of all, my concern with this project was the term permanent. Okay, which is why I made the motion. You know, a deal's a deal. Okay, you all came to the city and asked for a deal. And the city said, sure, we'll take this based on the deal on the table. Things changed, okay? And that's fine, things changed. But there's a few things I want to make clear here, or find out and then make clear. Number one, this is a not-for-profit?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, we pay salaries?
Pay salaries to the staff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We pay salaries.
No, I'm a non-for-profit. I'm a Title I school, so 86% of my population on free and reduced lunch. So I have kids who,
How much do you get per head from the state?
I only get probably $300 and something because I have to give back
Tuition.
tuition. No, I don't get tuition.
So the state gives you no money.
The state only gives me a certain amount because I have to give back 5% to the Palm Beach County School District.
Okay, let me try to ask it a different way. Where does your funding come from?
The state and federal.
Okay, so tell me how much money is coming from the state and federal government per child?
Per child? Well, it's $300. I don't get all the money. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's only $300 times 25% goes back to the Palm Beach County School District. So it's, you know, $300 per student.
Per year.
Per year.
Listen, I'm a little confused.
I don't get charter schools. Let me tell you about charter schools real quick, okay, Commissioner Maxwell. You have your management charter schools who are your corporate, and you have your charter schools who are like me. I'm one of a kind in Palm Beach County School District. And what happens is the state, when you're a non-for-profit, the state, and if you're a Title I, you get federal government. However, all charter schools have to give back a certain amount of money back to the Palm Beach County School District because we're under the umbrella of the Palm Beach County School District. So because I'm a high-performing charter school, I only give back 2%. Some other schools who are not high-performing charter schools give back 5%. So it varies on with the government. It varies if they're going to give $400 per student, per quarter. It really depends according to the government. And right now with the House and the Senate, they're going to find out how much they're going to give back to regular public schools, which is included with me. But we have to get a certain amount of money back. So I can't actually tell you how much money I get from the state.
Well, let me slow down just a second. The money that you give back to whoever you give it back is a line item on your profit and loss.
Correct.
And obviously you want to give back less money because you're a higher performing
Correct.
situation, but the most you're going to have to give back is 5%. I'm not interested in what you have to give back because that's an expense line item for you. What I'm interested in is how much revenue you generate per child, per year, and how many children you have in that school.
I have 123 students now, and I probably generate, I don't do my finances, I have an accountant and my finance person, so I'm thinking, if it's 330, 300 and a quarter, you're probably getting 2,000 something this school year.
Okay, well my original question was how much you're getting per student.
It's 300 a quarter. I only get 300 a quarter because you have your FTE, full-time equivalent, and that comes from October, and that comes from February. So if I have kids coming in February, that counts. If I have kids leaving, then it goes to another school. So everything, it varies.
What's your capacity for student enrollment on that campus?
With the portables, over 300 students without
With the portables?
With portables, and that's why I have to have the portables there to accommodate this.
Well, I have other questions that are gonna kind of bring us back to that portable question.
I'm hoping I can answer them, but like I said, I don't do the numbers.
Well, can I be blunt?
Yeah.
And this isn't a reflection on you or your organization, but this is something I think in some ways the city has dealt with over and over and over for years and years and years. There've been a lot of well-intended folks who come into town to do things, and things didn't quite work out the way they planned. They come back, as your representative said, hat in hand, and we're making these concessions, okay? Yet we just talked about upgrading our streets, we just talked about all the things we have to do in our community, and here we are willing to maybe consider another concession. My concern here is, by your own words, you said you're not an accountant, you know what the numbers are.
I'm her landlord, and I know her numbers. She gets $300,000 to $400,000 a year with 120 students, which is more than adequate to pay her rent and to pay her staff, and it's at least that. Where she fell short was in the capital improvement, and she had that money. Okay, she had, I think, $600,000 or $700,000 when she signed the lease with me. I'm stepping in. I don't want to lose a tenant. I'm cutting close to her. I want her to keep the school. I want to make a contribution to her and to this community. And I am making sure that the city gets what it's bargaining for, which is the main building gets turned into a school. The ancillary buildings are classrooms. There are ancillary buildings in schools. As I've learned, I didn't know anything about this when I started. There are ancillary buildings in California and Florida and all the sunshine states. And that's all that's happening here. We have a main building that's 25,000 feet. It's going to have the cafeteria, computer lab, and some classrooms. And they can have these ancillary buildings as well. She needs all the classrooms. She needs, there's 5 outside. She needs 8 or 9 classrooms right away. It's 20 kids a classroom. The most she's going to have is 180 kids next year. She's got a minimum of 120. She's going to try and get 180. Over time, she's going to add more classrooms inside, and she's going to want to keep these portables, these relocatables, which by your own code, with the foundations, are now permanent structures. And that's the bottom line. On an operating basis, her school does fine. On capital raising, she had to come to me. I hope that clarifies.
May I finish, Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Waters,
Yes.
the issue of a permanent structure is a done deal. That's already been decided by your department.
Well, it's basically been decided by the amendment of the site plan by the executive of the planning board. We provided all the information, the planning and zoning board accepted and voted 5-0 to approve the revised site plan allowing for temporary structures to remain permanent, and the mechanism to make them permanent was reviewed by both myself and the building official. And what they provided does make them constitute being a permanent structure under the Florida Building Code.
Okay, just so I can keep up with the process. If we were to vote no, that this isn't, you're asking us to vote yes or no, we say no, we don't like this, we don't think it's.
They could go back and revisit how the facades look. They could go back and make amendments in some fashion to change the appearance. Or in the worst case, the school would have to figure out some other way to get classrooms. I want to clarify one other thing too. The original site plan approval allowed classrooms on both the first and second floor of the existing 2-story building on the Teller building, which is to the north. In order for this to meet the parking requirement and other requirements in the zoning code, the second floor is effectively blocked off on the main building. It can't be used. If they choose to move forward on classrooms on the second floor, probably have to go look at additional parking and some other things to meet the zoning code requirement. So it isn't going to be as easy to add classrooms on the second floor of the existing building as you folks might think, because we've transposed the second floor classrooms to these buildings on the site already.
Right. I'll just finish up here. Look, if you can't see it with a 6-foot retaining wall or whatever we're calling that, why are we bothering? My question. Why are we bothering? If you already made the decision to make them permanent and we can't see it, why are we even having this conversation to begin with? And folks, hold on for a second. I don't like this deal.
I understand.
Okay, I don't like it because I'm tired of folks coming in asking for certain concessions up front, and then they're not, following through and delivering. And then we have to end up putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. Now, it's great, it's absolutely wonderful that great things are coming out of this effort in terms of educating our children. Absolutely wonderful. I'll be the first one to be your best cheerleader. But that's the whole point of having the charter schools. That's why individuals like this young lady have chosen to do this. That was the core mission, was to provide that type of an education. They're achieving that. But don't come back and hold that up in front and say, look, because we're doing this wonderful thing, we need to bend the rules and we need to change things around. We're trying to move our city in a different direction. We're trying to look better. We're trying to feel better. Okay, yes, the education is part of it, but we can't continue to function like this. We need better cooperation, better collaboration between entities such as yourself and the city up front with realistic goals, realistic expectations that can be met. So we don't find ourselves in these uncomfortable, this is uncomfortable if we sit there and talk about this when we know they're doing great things for the children. But there's a bigger part of this that we'll talk about later tonight. We'll talk about vacation homes, and next week we're going to talk about code enforcement, and we're talking about roads. We're always talking about ways to improve and make things better here in the city. In my humble opinion, leaving portables in a parking lot do not make our city look better. That's my humble opinion. The school district does it. We don't have any control over the school district. We do have control over maybe what was going on here. And that's when you all came together and asked us to do this, and we agreed up front. And now you're coming back and you want to change the rules. I'm really uncomfortable with that, and I think we need to have another conversation beyond this meeting about how we do this going forward in terms of staff and what they're signing off on, because I am really disappointed. I am really, really disappointed in the physical look of this campus. Okay, I'm really, really disappointed. I'm thrilled with the educational package, but I'm disappointed. And to hear that the principal, she needs an accountant to tell us how much revenue is generated, that's not comforting to me either. So whatever you're proposing tonight, is that going to still hold water 6 months from now or a year from now? That's my concern.
I understand. I think it's a little harsh, Vice Mayor, but I understand what you're saying. I am not a fan of these portable, soon-to-be permanent possible structures. The situation is alarming to me because number one, yes, our public school systems are doing it all the time. The thing that I was trying to first approach here, if you remember the conversation, was to say what kind of compromise could we find here, which is we want owners to be accountable and accessible. I know that you're stepping in here to help out the situation, but I would feel more personally comfortable saying, okay, as Commissioner Zerdy said, a 5-year, come in a 5-year, don't make them portable, we'll give you 5 years to do it, and no disrespect, but raise the capital funds that need to be raised to bring this project through to fruition. I know that you've been through a terrible situation, but we want this to be a permanent, forever fixture here. And I think that we're being flexible in saying that we'd like to do this. I don't like the idea of being stuck permanently with these structures, even though possibly codes will change and whatever. We want the school to succeed. I think them doing it over and over again to say, okay, no, we'll give you a little bit more leeway, a little more leeway. It was a tragedy that happened in regards to the finances of the situation. And I, by all means, don't want our children scattered out going here and there because of the situation. The parents, though, of some of the students that are going there, people are going to have to step up to support this charter school. That's how every other charter school does it when it does so. So, they're going to have to step up in many ways when a lot of the other students and their families can't. But there needs to be a plan in place, and I think that that's one thing that the Vice Mayor is saying. In reference to it, we'd like to see there be a long-term solution, not just here's your Band-Aid and it's okay now, and that's could be there for good, and they have to raise $500,000.